Oh my goodness, it is day 3 out of 5 inside of mainstream fame. And I just want to welcome you, gorgeous, amazing souls. There's 270 or something of you inside of this program this week. And I'm so happy for every single person. I'm so grateful for everybody who shared. I'm so grateful for those of you who referred a girlfriend, a sister, a cousin, tag people. I just had such a good feeling about this entire week with you. And I'm excited to watch it grow. Every single night it seems that our group is growing a little bit overnight. And I'm so impressed and I'm so grateful and I'm happy to have you. And I'm here to bring it again today on day 3 of 5. So if you're just coming on live, a little bit of what you need to know. Comments are my currency. It means the absolute world to me when you guys have a breakthrough moment, an aha moment, a spiritually provoking, transcendent moment, and you say something in the comments. It blows my mind. It gives me all the good vibes. It gives me even more energy so that I'm even better for you. So comments are my currency. Say hi to me. Let's just have an actual conversation today. It's interesting. As I was leading up to teaching this program, my call to action is actually join the conversation. So I mean that wholeheartedly. I like it when you guys talk because I love the interaction. I love actually having a conversation. I'm not just here to teach a class. I'm here to get to know you even more. So comments are my currency. Emojis are my love language. My personal favorite emoji is the lightning bolt because to me that means energy vibes. So if you guys are feeling the vibes, if you are bringing the energy, if you are receiving energy, if there's an energy transfer, drop those lightning bolts. And then also feel free to hit the love button as many times as possible because hashtag we love that Facebook algorithm. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to work with it. It's been interesting. A lot of my girlfriends, a lot of them who are also influencers or they teach courses online, etc., they are having all kinds of interesting things happen with their accounts lately. And I'm let's just love Facebook. Let's drive the algorithm. Let's hit the love button a lot and just give this video some love so that it gets traction. So today is day number 3 of our program, Mainstream Fame. Today, you're going to understand why it's called mainstream fame. It's going to start to click for you even more and connect for you even more why we had pictures of Hollywood icons every single morning. Who here has already watched day 1 and day 2? Can you tell me in the comments so I know who you are? I ask because day 1 and day 2 really laid the groundwork for the conversation of today. Day 1 and day 2, we were discussing frequency. We were discussing energy in a scientifically documentable, measurable way. The frequency of emotions, the frequency of beauty, the frequency of creativity and artistry, and how you can tap into that, how I personally tap into it every day. And you would have also noticed a connection between the biggest Hollywood icons, the most mainstream famous people today. They share this thing in common. They open up an energetic portal before they go before the masses. It's a decision that they've made, whether they do it themselves or they hire it out, but it's a decision that they made and that they continue to make to be a walking piece of artistry. Living, breathing, moving art. Art is a medium that transcends language barriers, transcends income barriers, transcends gender. Everyone can appreciate the beauty on this planet. Art and beauty, they're really a universal language. The decision that people make to tap into that is a decision to open a portal to deeper connection, more love, appreciation, joy, gratitude, transcendence, connectedness to a higher power. If you missed day 1 and day 2, I'm not going to reteach the class. I'm just going to say, go back and check it out. If we understand that that is the foundation that we're building on today, we're in the right spot. Now, day 1 and day 2, the demographic and the material for those days was very inclusive. It was for anyone. It is for not just business people, but it is for the every woman who's wanting to tap into more feminine power. So day 1 and day 2, if you're not in business, those fully should resonate for you, regardless of having a business or being an online brand or not. Today is the intersection. Today is the cross section where we are in a hybrid type of a masterclass. So day 1 was very much about mindset, energetics, and beauty, right? Day 1 and day 2 were that way. And today becomes a hybrid. Today we're going to be talking about the intentional influencer. The intentional influencer. This is where my expertise cross-sects. This is where you will meet the visibility architect, me. My personal expertise goes across a huge bandwidth of having worked as a celebrity makeup artist, being the person. This is so interesting. I was explaining this to my mentor the other day, that when you're the celebrity makeup artist, you are the person who is entrusted to be the last one to touch a star's face, their image, crafting them into living, moving, breathing art, creating them into a magnet. It's a huge honor. And we're also entrusted to be the last person to touch that human being with our energy. Not just anyone gets invited to do that. It truly isn't even based on your makeup skill, interestingly. If you're just a great makeup artist, that's not enough. To become the makeup artist that styles celebrities, you have to be an intuitive. We are the last ones who energetically manage or energetically imprint that person before some of the biggest moments of their lives. It is extremely intentional. I couldn't come to that high caliber of a shoot, a green room, a production, or a day, a hotel room, wherever this person was. I couldn't come there with my personal energy off. It had to be clear. It had to be able to be intuitive, intentional. They say that there's only 3 documented professions left on the planet where people get to touch others and it's legal. Well, this one's not legal, maybe only in Nevada. But the 3 remaining professions where humans are allowed to touch each other are medical, like a doctor or a nurse, prostitution, it's a career, and the beauty industry. Other than that, if you're at work and you're touching people, you may be liable for a lawsuit. These are the 3 professions that are still allowed to touch people. The second one, I don't know if it's really allowed, but people do it. As a chosen, repeat booked celebrity makeup artist for 5 years straight, I was the last person entrusted with the facial image of high-powered people who are magnets, icons. And I was the last person before they went live, before they went on, before they got on stage, before they got on camera, I was the last person energetically to imprint them. There's intention to that. And I bring this intention across the board into what I do as a consultant as well. For those of you who are completely new to my world and you're like, oh, she's a makeup artist. Okay, that's a part of me. The beauty thing, the makeup thing is a part. It happens to intersect with being a visibility architect online. Since 2019, I've been expert consulting with individuals and brands who are building organically online. There's an intentionality to how we show up online that really informs our buyers. In a way, it can also inform our success, which is interesting. So since 2019, I've been helping people to be seen, recognized, become the go-to person, and to do what we did with our cosmetic brand, which I started from 0 and took that brand to over $1 million organically in sales, using the power of visibility, intentionality, and social media. And once I had that result for myself, I opened up the capacity for people to work with me on a very close basis and work on everything from their beauty, their personal image, how they come across on camera, their lighting, their angles, their backgrounds, like everything about their business presentation, to the intersection of what does that mean for creating a program, a class, a mini course, hosting live retreats, learning how to sell online, how to attract people with copywriting. It all works together with intention. So there's two completely beautiful pieces to this intentionality, and they cross-sect. And that's why this particular 5-day experience becomes a hybrid. Today, we're going to start talking about the intentional influencer and your brand. So if you are in business and you are intentionally building a brand online, and or maybe you don't have the brand yet, but there's an inkling inside of you, like it was inside of me when I was a little girl, that when people said, what do you want to be when you grow up? The first thing that popped up for me was famous. Like mainstream fame. I want to be known. I want to affect. I want to impact. I want to influence. Before I knew what that word was, I just knew that there was a part of me that wanted to have a huge impact on the world. So if that resonates with you, if you are someone who is like, yes, like I would love to be a household name. I want to make a major impact. I want to have influence. And I would like to know more about being intentional to have that outcome. Today's class is for you. If you're in business right now, throw me some hearts. If you are thinking about growing a business right now, throw me some hearts. If it's just a little inkling in the back of your mind that maybe you've tamped down and damped down since you were a little kid, is like, I think, yeah, I do want recognition. I do want to be a household name. I do want to be known as the go-to person in my craft. Like, I think I do want to be mainstream famous. Throw hearts. Drop me some lightning bolts if that resonates with you, because I want to know who you are. And I'm so happy to have you because we have a really juicy conversation today. Such a good conversation to have. I'm loving the hearts. I'm loving the reactions. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I have one small announcement before we get into the juice of this content. One small announcement. And it is this. Jessie from my team messaged me, Jessie Ferguson, and she said to please send hype, love, and reminders. Thank you to everyone who shopped yesterday. We had a lot of people on our website yesterday snapping up the pre-sales. And Jessie is letting me know that at 2 p.m. Eastern, so 42 minutes from now exactly, the promo codes are shifting, which means if your ears perked up and you got a little excited about Elite Turbo Glam, our 6-month beauty container with all the bonuses, that's going from $444 to $555 at 2 p.m. So if you wanted to snap it up, open another tab, go snap it up. Second thing is, if you had heard yesterday very briefly about Confidence on Command, which is like the fast track for mastering makeup artistry, has a ton of bonuses. That is also changing prices from $9.99 to $17.77. And then it will then go up to $22.22. The price changes to $17.77 at 2:00. So if you were someone who was like, oh my gosh, I wanted that, I thought about it, I slept on it, it's still in my brain, this is how I shop. She's like, tell them it's 2 p.m. Eastern. So in like 41 minutes now. So that's our little announcement. And to be frank, you know what? They say that in marketing, this is, all right, we're just going to go for it. In marketing, they say that you often attract the type of buyer that you are. So what I know about myself is I'm a high-end buyer. I'm a luxury buyer. I'm pro beauty. I'm pro luxury experiences. I do not like budgeting. We're going to talk about that, have to, in the next 3 days, about the lack mindset versus abundance. If something speaks to me, I buy it. But this is what happens. I often think about it. And I'm always aware of the pre-sales. And I often do not act fast because I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know. Do I really want it? If I sleep on it, am I going to want it tomorrow? And my little intuition will be like, it's not leaving you. You're still wanting it. And so it will not surprise me whatsoever if we have a bunch of people on Friday that completely missed pre-sales and they're just like, no, I wanted it. I wanted it Monday. I could have bought it Monday, but I guess I just like paying more for things because here we are on Friday. So if we track who we are, I will not be surprised by a whole bunch of people buying things on Friday. But if you want the pre-sale price, it closes in 39 minutes. Okay. So, Jessie, thank you so much. Jessie has all the links posted in the guide section too. And she can also shoot it to people in Messenger if you need it. So, Cheryl, same. Cheryl's like, I always want to sleep on it, but I usually still want it the next night. Same. Same. My average coaching expenditures lately have been like 10 to 10 to $12,000 a month that I pay for, stuff I pay for, intellectual property, coaching, consulting, support, all my people. So that's the kind of person that I am. This is what I spend. I find it normal. But then again, I'm intentional with my brand. So that. Now that we're talking about marketing already and attracting who you are, being intentional, I have notes. So if you're ready to get into it, throw all the lightning bolts, heart me up. Let's fly. Okay. The intentional influencer. If those words ring a bell in your little soul, in your heart of hearts, if something is pulling you in, the intentional influencer. Maybe the word influencer gives you the willies. Maybe you're like, no, it's not really my vibe. But I'd like to intentionally have influence. I would love to intentionally impact the planet. I would love to know that if I'm brave enough to show up first for me, open the vortex in the morning, intentionally tap into the frequency of 475, creativity, 505, beauty, imagination. I turn on some music, I light a candle, I have some flowers on my makeup dressing table. Tap into love, happiness, joy. And I become the frequency of magnetism in the morning. What if I knew that when I intentionally showed up that way, my influence would be virtually guaranteed? What if I just knew that if I truly showed up for myself in that way, became living, moving, breathing, high frequency artwork, that I would have a power. Frequency of power is like right there with beauty. I would have a power that magnetizes, and that force would no longer be necessary. What if you knew that that was on the other side of intention? Would you want the intentional influencer to be your identity? I ask this because we're going to revisit the ... Does everyone remember that from day 2? The crux, the moment, the energetic vortex of the ... Do you remember? The ... is everything. If you missed that yesterday, say missed it in the comments. If you heard it yesterday, put ... in the comments. I'd love to know who we're speaking to. Mainstream fame. What comes to mind when you hear that word? Those two words, mainstream fame. Mainstream fame to me indicates you are impacting and influencing people while you sleep. You are so intentional with what you present energetically and on social media and in person. It's all living art. That when you're done and you shut the camera off, or you put the phone down, or you exit the room or the conversation, there is an energetic vibration left with those people, and it's still buzzing for days. For some who are iconic, the women that we saw at their dressing tables this morning in today's post, these women who are truly iconic, who intentionally opened the vortex through art, through beauty, through intentionality. They opened the power vortex. Their content has been watched for decades. Their influence is mainstream famous. If you walk through downtown Hollywood, like how many have been there? Have you been to Los Angeles and like walk through Hollywood? You will see the faces of these icons and people who have never even watched a production with some of, Hollywood's biggest iconic names. Like Marilyn Monroe is everywhere in downtown Hollywood. Little kids know who she is, who have never seen a production of hers. They've never seen her dance. They've never heard her voice. They have no idea. They just know her face. She's an icon. Her beauty, her power, her legacy, her artistry is still going decades later. People dress like her. People do their wing liner like her. This is mainstream fame. The interesting thing about next level intentionality in 2021, moving into 2022, is that mainstream fame looks different now. You used to have to move to Los Angeles, New York City, in more recent years, Nashville. You had to pick up your life and move to the big city, maybe wait in bus tables, hustle, have roommates, just to get your face in front of someone who might tell you yes. It was a crapshoot. Things have changed so dramatically. With the advent of the cell phone and social media, many different platforms, a lot of personal expression, that's no longer the case. You no longer have to move to be a household name. Today, you can be intentional, show up on social media, and affect hundreds or even thousands or even millions of people through your intention. Your choice in the ... to be visible. The current easiest way to become famous is not to move across the country, is not to get a talent agent. It is to tap into frequency and crack the social media code. We are in an age when video, digital images, pictures, stories, graphics, and copywriting, like these are the greatest vehicle today to mainstream fame. Add what happened last year in our country, where people are like traveling less and using digital content more. It's only going at hyper speed now. But I want to point out that in the beginning of social media, if you were present, if you were active for the very beginning of social media, it wasn't like that. In the very beginning of social media, anyone who was brave enough to come on with content, because there were so few people who were brave enough to do it. Anyone who was brave enough to come on with their content and just be willing to be seen, they were pretty much guaranteed that they were going to be seen. And eventually, if they kept at it, they were going to become highly successful. Those who dared to have YouTube channels and blogs and things at the very advent, like the beginning of social media, they got famous. Mainstream fame. There were so little people, so few who were brave enough to do it, that a lot of people, just if they chose to dive in, they became really successful. That was 10, 12 years ago. Anybody around back then playing on YouTube, posting to social? So a lot has changed in 10 years. A lot has changed in 1 year. Now there's a lot of people doing this. A lot of people, they say that 4 billion unique pieces of content are uploaded to the Facebook platform alone daily. 4 billion. 4 billion. 4 billion unique pieces of content uploaded simply to the Facebook platform alone daily. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of people doing this, what we're doing today, creating and consuming high-level content. And they're getting better and better and better at it because they're intentional with their craft, sharpening their skills. As the market is changing, the way that people consume and create content, it's no longer just show up. Just showing up is the lowest level of intentionality. It's no longer just show up. It's not as easy as it was, because people are operating at such a higher frequency on every platform. So with that in mind, if you're someone who intends to build a brand, you currently have a brand, or you are growing your brand, there's a decision. There's a deciding moment, and we talked about this yesterday. It's in the ... If you missed it yesterday, this is what I'm referring to. Often, I didn't speak on beauty the way that I'm speaking on it now. I stopped talking about our beauty company, our cosmetic line. I really, unless I had a private client that I was consulting with and I was like their personal coach and we were talking about their branding and we were talking about their launch and what was going to get the clicks and what was going to get the views and like how we curated people's engagement. Unless someone was my private client and they were paying me for that type of consulting, I really didn't bring up makeup to people very much anymore. The cosmetic piece, the intentionality piece. And I was explaining this to my mentor recently, and she was like, you absolutely need to post and share about this. Because it looked like this. I was painfully aware. Like, I know women who are so brilliant. Brilliant beyond brilliant. And I would see them show up online. They chose to show up. That is the baseline, choosing to show up. And they would write incredible things. They would write incredible posts or, they would say incredible things on their videos. And yet also, like, my expertise as a celebrity makeup artist and as someone who is like so aware of the magnetism that these human beings could be attaching themselves to, the vortex that they could have been opening, the literal animal iconic magnetism that they could be tapping into if they had a slightly different intention before they went on camera. I was so painfully aware of the money that they were leaving on the table, the people that they would never reach. I was painfully aware for their 90-year-old self sitting on a patio in their rocking chair, looking out on the world and just knowing that like maybe something different might have been if they would have hit the top of their game. And a part of me would want to jump through the screen and grab my friend and say like, okay, let's get your angle right. Let's get you some professional lighting. Let's get your sound quality better. Like lights, camera, action. Like let me style you. Let me help you. Let me help you tap into this vortex. And it was so hard for me to watch that because what had happened in society is that beauty became vilified. For one person to be beautiful meant that somebody was not. And if you made any comment at all, it was like this, I don't know. It was like this indication that the woman was not enough. But if you were here for day 1 and day 2, that's not my message at all. Like I'm here to help women tap into the magic. I'm here to help women step into sensuality, femininity, next level power. Stop hustling, stop pushing, stop grinding, and be an ever-loving magnet in person and online, because that is the frequency of beauty. And I felt I couldn't say that. I made the mistake of a couple people took my message wrong, and I probably didn't say it well either, and I didn't want to hurt anyone. So I stopped talking until I learned to say it like this. Until I learned to speak to the higher frequency in women. to speak to the luxury piece of them that they had let die. The woman in them who is worthy of 30 minutes or an hour of self-care in the morning. So the ... is this. When you're deciding how you're going to approach yourself as a personal brand, this is a decision. When you're deciding what is the standard of you being an influence, this is a decision. Intentionality means you make a decision. You are intent on an outcome. Most people that I come across, they have never been asked this question in business. What is your intent? And you as a personal brand, even if you don't have a business yet, like what is your intent here? How do you want to feel? How do you want to impact? What is your influence? Because if you've never actually become intentional about what you're doing with your brand, it's easy to show up mediocre. I'm going to go deeper. You get the decision. You get the beautiful moment today to decide, what is your standard? What is your intent with your influence? Because when it comes to things like makeup and beauty, and whether you want to tap into that vortex, tap into that magnetism, tap into that unyielding power, or whether you choose like, you know what, makeup just, it doesn't really fit my brand. It doesn't really fit my shtick, like a red lip and a smoky eye. It's not on brand for me. And if it's truly that makeup and cosmetics are not on brand for you, that is one decision. And that's a decision that I respect, actually, because you made a decision. There are people who decide, you know what, I just want to be the relatable mom. There's one lady that comes to mind. She's she's got dark hair. She's a little heavy. She never wears makeup. She does like videos in her car, and she's gone totally viral. So makeup wouldn't really be on brand for her. What she stands for is sarcastic, relatable mom. And that's who she is, and she's thriving. You can choose to be the thrift store vibe and thrive. You can also choose to be the thrift store vibe and intentionally come on with makeup. Intentionally open the vortex in the morning. You get to choose your standard. You can decide that you wish to be the relatable, accessible, no makeup mom. Yeah, Jenkins. That's the one. You can decide that you are going to be that, and you could totally knock it out of the park because that's what's on brand for you. That happens. That's real. And this is where, for me to come live and say, like, you have to wear makeup to succeed, that's a fallacy. But I want you to consider the frequency. Just for a moment, if you know who I'm talking about, what is the frequency that you feel when someone comes on camera and they're funny and they're sweet and they're relatable, but there's no makeup? There wasn't a lot of intentionality put into the way that it's branded and the staging. Just think about it. Doesn't have to be good, doesn't have to be bad. And I'm not saying she's bad. I'm asking you, what's the frequency that you feel? Just curious. But where we're seeing people try online and fall short is, I see this all the time. It's so easy for me to see who's experiencing this. Where we're seeing people really try to build brand online and fall short is that what they really desire in their heart of hearts, in their little inner 7-year-old, if you really got them alone for a cup of coffee or swim in the lake and said, like, what do you really want? What they really want is the luxury brand. What they really want is mainstream fame. What they really want is the iconic vibe. Some people want to be a celebrity business owner, the top coach, the top consultant, the top person in the business. So you can decide to be the thrift store vibe and completely thrive, and that is okay. Nothing wrong with it. But if in your heart of hearts, your real desire, your real dream is to be a luxury brand, a household name, and mainstream famous, a big luxury brand, wealth, fame, impact. You want your name known. You want to be the person that gets the referral in your market. If that's your real desire, but you're not intentional about how you're branding yourself, this is where you're falling short. And this is the question that I asked yesterday. You know, when it comes down to a luxury beauty routine, there's this thing. So who in here is like a recovering Dave Ramsey person or any other debt system? It's like there's like these debt elimination systems, and they very much, you know, teach you to live on the bare minimums, and they villainize credit cards, they villainize spending. It's kind of like a debt diet. Have you ever been on one of those? If you've been on one of those, write hashtag debt diet in the comments. Debt diet. Or raise your hands. Yeah. Okay, so there's this thing that happens when people go on like these debt diets. It's like a diet in real life. It's like this really like hard grind, survival mode. Like don't buy anything that you don't need. It's like a strict diet. It's kind of like going on like a no sugar for 6 months diet, because Lord knows it's going to take like 6 months to get 6 months or longer to get fully out of debt, right? So your brain goes into this space of like villainizing luxury. If you've ever done a debt diet, it truly skews your perception of your self-worth, because you think, if I accumulated debt is bad. I am bad if I spend. It's like a stigma. And then even if there is no more debt, it's like one of two things happens. One, like you carry guilt and shame for the rest of your life around buying luxury items because it's like they're villainized now. Beautiful things are like, oh my God, you don't need that. A massage once a week? Are you spoiled? Must be nice. So the same thing happens with food. When you're taught to buy the cheapest food and eat the cheapest food, like it's horrific for your body a lot of the time. And yet there's guilt and shame associated with like buying the more luxury thing because it's more expensive. Like, am I worth that? Oh my gosh. The most expensive cereal. Oh my gosh, because it's non-GMO and it's not going to kill me. Like, oh my gosh, am I allowed to spend $6 on a pound of organic granola? Oh my God, what would people say? So this worthiness issue comes up for women around, do I deserve this? Who am I to have this? And it transcends and goes into the beauty routine world. It goes into your sensuality. It goes into your enjoyment of your life. Who are you to sit around and relax? Who are you to sit in the sun on a beautiful afternoon and not be productive? Who do you think you are? Who are you to own a $64 candle? $64. Are you kidding me? Can't believe you spent $500 on tchotchkes for your video. It's wasteful. Who are you? Who do you think you are to sit in front of the mirror for an hour painting? You must think you're something. Self-worth takes a hit. Guilt sets in. Insecurity around like, God, who do I think I am to enjoy this luxury life? After all, there's starving people in other countries. After all, I'm going to eat this gorgeous goddess-like meal and I'm just going to, it's going to end up in the sewage system in 12 hours or less. Like, who am I to have that? And this is the question around branding and business. I remember my first 5 years in business, I had someone very influential tell me, like, you don't need a good website. What are you talking about? If you're good at what you do, you don't need a good website. You can have a piece of crap website. Why are you spending all this money? I was like, I don't think people want to shop an ugly website for beautiful luxury items. Something is not matching. Like, if I'm a hardcore budgeter, but I'm selling luxury items, it doesn't really match. If I deny myself in my real life, if I am full on like budget master, frugality, fully denying myself of every pleasurable thing, there's going to be a disconnect when I go to speak on a luxury item. It doesn't match. You're not hitting. So when I encounter people who are getting started in business, and some who've been in business for 5 to 7 years, and they come into different containers of mine, like the Trove or my mastermind or private coaching, one of the first things that I really look at is like, how intentionally are you showing up with your influence? Because someone somewhere told them, like, it doesn't really matter what you look like. And I'm like, nothing could be further from the truth. If art is the medium that is the fastest vehicle to mainstream fame, the medium of videography, the medium of stories, the medium of reels, the medium of your pictures. If this is art that transcends time, race, gender, age, and you are to be the icon, the intentionality with which you come across, it's everything. But the ... is what I encounter. It's like I meet women and they go, well, yeah, of course I want a great background. And of course I want a microphone. Of course I want to know how to do my makeup. And of course I want to look like that. And of course I want, the 7-figure business. Of course I want that. But ... It's an incomplete thought. Of course I want that, but ... But someone told me I'm not worthy. Someone told me you don't need that to succeed. Someone told me there was a cheaper option. Someone else 10 years ago made it just because they showed up. Someone else 5 years ago or 3 years ago did 100 days of Facebook Lives and they showed up and they made it, so I can just show up and I can make it. I'm like, incomplete thought. Times have changed. And this is the deeper question. What is it that you really desire? Is it the thrift store vibe and thrive? Or is it that you truly want the intentional luxury brand, the wealth, the impact, the legacy, to be mainstream famous, to be iconic, like different level of intention. So there's the level of intentionality that sounds like, oh, we have like lives to do. We have like, IGTVs and Instagram lives and Facebook lives to do. Like that's like the lowest bar of intentionality is showing up. And then we have another level of like, yeah, like I actually want to know how to be camera ready. So like if I have a branding shoot or a photo shoot or like, people are scrolling that my stuff would be like more captivating. Like, yeah, I would pick that. That's layer 2 of intentionality. That's where people come in at Elite Turbo Glam. They go like, yeah, I'll definitely take a 30-day experience and go in and play and try and experiment and try on different things to see like what is my vibe? How do I want to present? And then there's the top tier intentionality. These are the celebrity business owners. These are the household names that they might not be a Hollywood name, but people know them. Like, drop some names right now in the comments of people that you consider a household name, but they're not like an A-lister or an actor. They're like social media mainstream famous. Who pops up in your mind? Because that is a different level of intention. I think of people like, leaders in different industries. I think about a lot of people in the consulting and the coaching space. They're mainstream famous. Their impact is enormous. Their wealth and their reach is astronomical. And that's a different level of intention. Yeah, I like the names that are popping up. So there is a level of intentionality for people who are like a household name. They might not be a Hollywood celebrity, but there's an intentionality in the way that they package themselves. I kind of touched on this yesterday. Like, I was speaking with my graphic designer, and she does design for some huge names in the industry. And I'm like, what is the common denominator? What do you think that the common denominator is between the people who really, really, really make it? She's like, well, obviously they have talent and they're brilliant, but they all have a look. It's not cookie cutter. It's not the look, it's a look. It's intentional. It's a complete thought. Whereas I said earlier that I encounter a lot of women who are coming into the entrepreneurial space, and it's like they're like, yeah, of course I want to be successful. But it's not a complete thought. And the real, like the high level luxury brands, the mainstream fame names, people can tell that it's a thought out brand. They can tell it was a complete thought. They can tell that there was intention. I described our customer experience yesterday that I'm like, okay, like I don't want you to feel like you just shopped at Sephora. Like you could go buy your makeup at a store, and that's one level of experience where you go in and you shop for yourself and you pick your stuff and you hope it works and you go home and you try it and whatever. You just bought it because you needed it. Versus from the moment that you make a purchase with us, it becomes an experience. From the way that it unpackages like a gift at your house, to the level of support, to the tutorials, to our staff, our team who monitors our inbox and answers questions inside of our private community, to the 2-day intensive, the Confidence on Command, where like you can watch a 4-hour chunk on a Saturday, a 4-hour chunk on a Sunday, and you can literally master makeup artistry inside of 2 days. Oh, and our team helps you pick. And there's suggested color pairings. And you can send us pictures and be like, this was my intent. This is how it turned out. Any tweaks that you would make? What can I try different next time? From the moment that you become a client of ours, I want it to feel like a next level luxury experience. I want it to be clear that we're invested in you as a brand, because we recognize the investment that you're making in yourself as a brand. When people shop with me, I recognize them as like a next level intentional human. Could they go down to the pharmacy and shop? Yeah. Everyone has options. And I'm so grateful when people pick us. But like from the bottom to the top, it's an intentional experience. It's a luxury. It's a sensual experience. Inside our private community, like I encourage people, like show off your makeup table. Like, show us where you get high vibe in the morning. Show us where, you open the vortex to higher levels of emotional frequency. Show us where you open the vortex to love, to real power, not force and pushing, to magnetism, to creativity, to imagination. Show us your personal expression today. Like, that to me is what this is. Like, I look different every single day because it's personal expression. I choose to be living, moving, breathing art. That's a well thought out brand. And people can feel when a brand is like not really intentional. There's a difference between the feeling that you get when, like, okay, for example, I spent like the first 10 years of my career working in like high-end luxury spas. And that's where I started working on celebrities. I shouldn't say that. Kind of. It was kind of the start. But when people walked in, there was a standard that you hit for them. In a multi-star resort, and in certain top-tier resorts and spas, there are certain standards and markers that have to be hit, and we would get secret shopped every week. Rain or shine, they had secret shoppers on the phone, and there was a checklist. Like, did you offer this, this, this? How did you speak to the person? Did you offer them other options? You could never say no. Secret shopper means that people call or come in person and they pretend that they're wanting to book a service, or sometimes they do book a service and they go through the whole entire client journey. And the whole time they have a checklist to rate you on whether you hit the standard for a high-end service or not. So in the spa industry, it was like, okay, when the person walked in, were they greeted with, we would give them a chocolate biscotti, a champagne, a manchego cheese. We were graded on whether we walked them luxuriously to the relaxation room, whether we showed them where the hot towels were, whether we offered them a bathrobe, whether we opened the door for them or let them open the door for us. So did you open the door for the client? Did you take them into the locker room? Did you illustrate for them how do they open and lock their locker? Did you show them their different shower options? Did you tell them that their therapist would be with them momentarily and have them comfortable while they waited for their therapist? Was the therapist on time? When they went in with the therapist for their massage or their facial, was the candle lit? Was the bed pulled back? Was the heater turned on the bed? How did the therapist address the person? Did they check in a couple times during the service to make sure that it was up to par? When the service concluded, did they walk the client back up to the relaxation area, offer them, some more time, show them their options for what else they could do with us as a team? Would you like a blowout, like a hairstyle service? Would you like the oil wash out of your hair after your massage? We have a mani-pedi open available for you if you'd like it. Or would you just like to sit here and relax? Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. It was a pleasure to meet you. Have a fantastic day. Shake their hand and leave. Did you hit the markers? Luxury brands are so next level intentional. It's not haphazard. It's not like, oh, cool, we got a client. It's just bebop and make it happen. Hopefully they don't streak their spray tan. Hopefully they know how to lock their locker. Hopefully they book again. They're a tourist. We'll never see them again. We can screw them over. Like, that's the difference between low-level intentionality and high-level luxury service. This is the difference between like, yeah, I showed up for work. I showed up for work, smelled like cigarettes, didn't do my hair, got a stain on my shirt, but I showed up. That's one layer of intentionality. I showed up looking the part for my job today. Popped a breath mint. I think I hit the standard. Versus high level intentionality. I want long-term relationship with this person. I want this to be exquisite. I want this to feel remarkable for them. I want them to think about this for a long time to come. I want them to stack their other services in their life against me, and I want to come out on top. When people ask, where would you go to get service of choice? For me, it's where would you go to get social media consulting? Where would you go to learn about personal image and branding? Where would you go to learn how to do your makeup for camera? I want to be the name that pops up. This is high level luxury branding. This is intentionality. So for the person who is like, makeup is not on brand for me. I will never do that. I'm thrift store vibe and thrive. Like, this whole entire message, I'm very aware it's going to not really land with you. It's not going to land the same. And this is me saying that is okay. You can be the thrift store vibe and thrive. But if you are being the thrift store vibe and haphazardly showing up and trying really, really hard to show up, and it's falling short and it's not landing with people, I would ask you the question, what is your intent with your influence? If you could open the vortex with beauty and artistry every day, be a full-on magnet for wealth, notoriety, your name being the name, is that the intentionality with which you are showing up? For those of you who like a challenge, I'm just gonna throw you a little challenge. And I'm gonna say, are you intentionally influencing in a way that's a match for the level of wealth and notoriety and mainstream fame that you desire? Because there's lower intention and there's a match for that. There's people who do not care about a luxury brand. And so the staging does not matter. There's a price tag match for that too. And this isn't picking on anyone, it's just stating facts. There's a demographic of people who don't care about the Holiday Inn or like a thrift hotel. They just want a bed to sleep in and some waffles at breakfast. And they're like, that's fine. $130. Cool. Do they have a pool? Cool. That is a demographic of people. They're not looking for the staging. But in order to Hear me, consultants, hear me, service workers, hear me, coaches, hear me. In order to stand behind a higher ticket price with your offer, your course, your coaching, your service, there's a level of staging and branding that people will expect. And if they're used to shopping it, if you're used to going to buy a high-end luxury purse, the type that when you walk in the store, they hand you a water, they hand you a beverage, the bags are placed just so, you're used to a specific price tag, and this is how you like to shop. When this is your criterion and someone comes at you sideways and they're like, oh, I've got the same bag over here for like $42, you do not buy it. You don't fall for it. You don't buy it. It's not the standard. You didn't get your glass of champagne. They didn't greet you. They weren't interested in you. Like it's not the vibe. And also, if you're used to shopping high-end luxury stores or visiting high-end luxury spas or buying high-end luxury services, coaching, support, etc., and you walk into what's supposed to be a high-end store and like you can tell no one has staged anything. There's cobwebs, there's like 4 bags. You're like, something's really wrong here. I'm not buying a thing. Like the packaging is off. The service is off. The people look off. The packaging is off. The staging is off. Like this is not the vibe that I buy from. There's a level of people that will not buy from you until you hold that standard and increase your price. But holding the standard comes first. Because if they're used to the price tag, but you don't have the standard, that's also a red flag. They're like, yeah, no, doesn't seem right. Like, I can smell a fake. I'm not calling it a fake. I'm just saying there's a level of intentionality. And if this conversation stimulates your mind because you have luxury brand aspirations, but you've got some baggage around that, you're like, I don't know if I'm worthy of this. It feels a little excessive to me to like spend an hour on my beauty routine. Like I catch the frequency thing. I like the idea of this. Like I get it that the biggest icons on the planet, they're doing this, they're tapping into this whole other vortex. There's just a little piece of me going like, can I do that? Is that me? If you've got a little bit of that going on, this doesn't self-correct. Your own internal money objections and your own internal objections about luxury will come across when you're selling. Your own unwillingness to love yourself well, treat yourself well, and turn yourself into art, like that will come across in the way that you price, in the way that you speak, in the way that you present, in the branding that you pick for your company. It all touches. It's all connected. So today I want to ask you, as an influence, for those of you who have luxury brand aspirations and today really landed for you and you heard something that kind of like stimulated your mind a little bit. Something is moving, something's shifting, something in you just got permission. I'm here to ask you today, What is your intent with this influence? Is it, yeah, I would love wealth and mainstream fame and all the accoutrements of success. Like, yeah, of course. And I would love to look like that on camera. Of course. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want hundreds of people joining their free masterclass? Like, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want 6 and 7 figures a year? Like, who wouldn't want that? Of course. But I don't know. If you're falling into the crux of the, I don't know, it's that for me, I would ask you to do some soul searching today and ask yourself, like, are you doing what you're doing because you haven't thought about the intent? Is it like a default option? Like, oh, this is just what I know how to do. Someone told me I just have to show up online and I'll make money. And you're now finding like, oh, I'm kind of falling short. It's not really working. But your true deep desire is, yeah, I want to be mainstream famous. I want to be next level iconic, magnetic, luxury brand. I want to learn how to be intentionally influential. I want to play in a global market. I want my content to be watched and rewatched while I'm sleeping. I want my energy in households around the world. I want to be able to cross the language barriers and the race barriers and the political barriers and the educational barriers because people are drawn in by the beauty and the artistry. And that's my in for them to get to know my brilliance. If the intentional influencer is really truly what you desire and you can admit that and you want a next move, here it is. So day 1, we talked about Elite Turbo Glam. That is a self-paced community for experimentation, artistry, playing. We literally have a video for every product that we've ever launched. If it's in stock, it has a video. That's the place to go and learn and play and craft and decide, like, what is my vibe? It's kind of like the dressing room of makeup. You get to just try a lot of stuff on and decide, like, okay, like, this is my look. It's not that you have to have a look, or it's not that you have to have the look. It's not like we're making you cookie cutter. It's, what is your look? Is it super clean and corporate and like dewy? Is it like very soft? Is it romantic? Is it full-blown smoky eye? Do you like a big pop of lip? Do you like Kardashian contour? Like, what is your look? This is where you come to learn and play. This is where a skill turns into an art. Yesterday, we talked about confidence on command. During my years educating people on makeup artistry, I've done somewhere between like 30 and 50 live events. So we would host retreats. Sometimes they were in a ballroom. Sometimes they were in like a luxury Airbnb. And we would go through 2 days of teaching women what would be a 30-day experience inside of Elite Turbo Glam, our online community. We would take that 30-day experience and we would hyper speed it into a 2-day session where day 1, all of our women could ace like the very clean, almost no makeup look. It's what you would wear to a business meeting, a conservative event. If you want to look glowy and fresh, but still very polished, that's day 1. You learned like the contouring things, the things that sculpt a face. Day 2, of our live events, you would learn from start to finish, full blown smoky eye, lashes, highlight contour, like Kardashian versions, like this kind of a look. And people could master it in a day. One day. That to me is where it went from an art to a mastery, because it was a 2-day intensive where people learned hyper speed. And once they understood it, they could replicate it with any eyeshadow palette, with any lip color. Like, once you understand the principles, you can change the colors. That's where it goes from an art to mastery. It's called Confidence on Command. I'm so excited. We had people who snapped it up at pre-sale, because for some people, it's a resonant, like effortless yes for them. They're like, yes, like I don't want to go slow. I want to go fast. I want all the bonuses. I want all the things. Okay. So yesterday we talked about Confidence on Command. Both those options are still available. It's just the pre-sale is done. So they are now at a more retail pricing. You still get all the bonuses. You still get our contour palette, the brushes, the blender babe. With Confidence on Command, you get another $250 to shop our site, and our girls will help you. If you're like, I don't know what to buy, this is part of the luxury experience. We'll help you shop. But the next level, and you're going to hear more about this on tomorrow and Friday, is the consulting piece. The consulting piece. So there's self-led courses, there's, a level of support from our team, but the consulting piece is where you have one-to-one attention from an expert consultant, from someone who can really take a good look at your brand. This is the difference between a coach and a consultant. Coaches are amazing because they're there to listen and to maybe draw the truth out of you that's already there. Maybe point you in a little bit more of a specific direction. But a consultant, a lot of people don't realize this. There's a huge difference between a coach and a consultant. A consultant is someone that's an expert at their craft. And the reason that you hire them is because they're there with hawk eyes on the intentionality of what you're doing. So for me, I consult with people on their personal image, their branding, their offers, their copy. What is the fullness of what they're putting out in the market and selling? I consult with people on that. So the next few days, you're going to hear about different ways that you can get in on that. Today, I want to introduce you to something called the intentional influencer. I would love to stand up and show you my belly. It's so cute. I'm doing 7 weeks or so. And when I got with my team, I was like, okay, what does the calendar look like? And what do I actually have space to do in the next month? Because I have a feeling that there are a handful of people who are here who are like, I want the whole everything. So to give you perspective, Confidence on Command on its own retails at $2,222. That's the 2-day intensive course. It's pre-recorded, it's online. You can watch it at your leisure, 6 months of access to it. Elite Turbo Glam, that's our beauty community, has 50, 60 tutorials in it. That is retailing at $555. So right now we're already up to $2,777. To hire me on an hourly basis as a one-to-one consultant, where you and I are talking privately and we are going over your personal image, the intentionality behind it, how you want to come across. Sometimes people want to talk about their offers. Some people want to talk about their branding. Whatever it is that you really want to needle down on as far as your intention with your business and your brand, to hire me one-to-one is now $3,333 a month. So I charge $3,333 to be a one-to-one consultant for people. So today we have the intentional influencer, and it's all of that. But it's not that expensive, which is awesome. Price tag on that should be somewhere around, if I can math, just under $6K. But for the person who would like to snap up the last couple hours that I have on my calendar before now and baby, you want 2 private appointments with me to go over your personal brand image, anything related to your business, your offer. You want a consultant to look through your things and help you to craft it to be extremely intentional for the back half of the year. You want access to confidence on command. You want to show up and feel and be the part for the level of wealth that you're trying to generate, for the level of price tag that you would like to charge for your services. And you want someone who understands how to do that, to craft it with you, to curate it with you. You also want the 6 months of access to Elite Turbo Glam because you want to go in and play and you want support. All of it together is called the intentional influencer. Instead of being 6,000, it's 4,444. Me as your private coaching consultant for the next month. Access for 6 months to your programs, tons of makeup bonuses, support from our team is 4,444. We talked about the different levels of intention. The baseline is just showing up. What we learned today is, in today's market, it doesn't work the same that it used to. There's too many people getting really good at this, that just showing up and doing a live video is not, it's not standout anymore. People don't get famous just by doing that anymore. They don't become a household name by just showing up. Showing up is the baseline. The second layer of intentionality is like, I would like to look nice. I would like to explore. I would like to craft myself into art. I would love to know how to be camera ready. I would love to have a look of my own. And the third level is the person who's like, I want to be the mainstream famous person in my industry. My intent is a luxury brand. It's beauty, it's magnetism, it's wealth, it's legacy. This is not haphazard. This is a complete thought. That's the intentional influencer. This is a limited offer, and here are the limits. I have a maximum people that I will be able to take, and we will be doing this starting now through the end of July is when it's complete. So we have a month. You have a month to schedule your one-to-ones with me, our time together, our personalized consulting time. We must wrap it up within a month because I have a baby to pop out. But I just know that it would be almost a disservice to, there's a few of you, there's some people that have been in my inbox and you're like, I missed the magic. I missed your mastermind. What do you have for me? And I'm like, the intentional influencer. So the link is live. It's ready. There's a limited number of how many I will be able to take because of my schedule. Jesse's in charge. I love you, Jesse. And if you're wanting the link for that, I'm certain that she'll put it in the guide section. So the intentional influencer is everything that we talked about on day 1 and day 2, plus private consulting with me for a month. 2 intensive sessions. That's today. Now, if there's something that you have purchased yesterday or from the day before, and you're like, I didn't know about this one, can I upgrade? Yes. If you buy the intentional influencer and you hear about something on tomorrow or Friday and you're like, oh my God, can I upgrade? Yes. You can change your offer, you can upgrade, you can switch. It's fine. You just contact me, contact our team, and they will help you to upgrade the difference. That's awesome. If we get this, then want to upgrade to whatever you offer at the end of the week, would y'all offset the price? Yep, 100%. You just message us. We'll make sure you're getting the right thing and you get all your bonuses and stuff. So ladies, I hope that today was so thought-provoking for you. And again, if you do not have next level high-end luxury brand intentions, I know that this did not land the same for you. And just know I love you and it's okay. And for those people who are like, no, like this lands, I want to be mainstream famous. That is the way that I intend to show up for my audience. This is how I want to back my high ticket prices. I want to know how to be that energy because maybe I don't know yet, or maybe someone told me that I shouldn't and I have some things to work through. Let's work through it. It would be my pleasure. So I hope today rocked your socks, changed your life, made you think about branding in a whole different way, and that for the rest of your life, you will show up with intention, with a complete thought. So that if you want long-term relationship, if you want luxury buyers, if you want higher ticket offers, that you will show up with intentionality to back that. Hope I made you think. Love you guys so much. Tomorrow and the next day, we're going to talk even more about feminine and masculine energy. That's my favorite. Like we're going to talk straight up energetics tomorrow. I love this topic. It is so fun for me. Energetics in the sales process for those of us who are in business. And Friday's just going to top the cake. I'm not even going to tell you the topic yet. But I will see you on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Go ahead and message us. You can put the word link in the comments if you need a link for something. Our team is monitoring this around the clock. And yeah, tomorrow is 1 o'clock. Friday is 3 o'clock. We'll see you guys live. Thanks for being here. You're freaking amazing. And congrats to everyone who snapped up your goodies already.